are here at the Perfect Podcast. I had a hair on my nose. The Perfect Podcast Show. Hi, I'm your host, Keith. This is the Perfect Podcast Show on the USA Global TV and Radio Network. That's right, global. That means the world, not just your state or your country or your continent or your hemisphere, but the world, maybe even beyond the world. You know, the signal might go out further. We don't know yet. But anyways, I'm getting way ahead of myself. This is the Perfect Podcast Show, the show where I attempt to have a perfect episode. I've tried many times, and many times I have failed. It's been an issue because as I may have said, or maybe it's been cut from the airwaves, is I am stuck in this room. I'm literally locked in this room until I do a perfect episode. That was the agreement. I thought it'd be really easy. I was like, oh, perfect episode of a podcast. How hard can that be? So they locked me in this room. I got this background here, but, looking this way, I just see a bare wall. There's chains, and when the show's over, I'm chained back up unless it's a perfect episode. So I'm really trying to have a perfect episode. That way I can leave this room and go back in the world. I haven't seen sunlight in many months. I don't really know what's going on out in the world, but I'm here, and hopefully this will be a perfect episode because that's what I'm trying to do. Make a perfect piece of content for the world, the global audience. So hopefully this will be the one. I'm excited about this one, and I'm hoping it'll be good. But as you know, you can call the show. You can call the show, give some tips or your thoughts on the show, some constructive criticism. Maybe will help the show out. You know, if you call the show 818-392-4623, there's that phone number. If you call the show, give us some tips, give me some tips. I say us, it's just me locked in this room. So if you give some tips, then maybe I can help the show become perfect, which is what I'm trying to do. So yeah, call the show 818-392-4623. And we have a call that came in, I believe, yesterday. And hopefully this call will give some tips so we can make this episode perfect. So let's listen to that call now. Hi there. Thanks for calling the Perfect Podcast Show. Leave your message and we'll play it on the air. How was that? Does that work?
What bothers me, Winnie the Pooh? I want to know why you made a podcast all about me. The Perfect Cast Show is what it's called, but there is no mention of old Winnie the Pooh.
Okay. Thanks, Winnie the Pooh. Again, this is not the Perfect Pooh Cast Show. It is not the Perfect Pooh Cast Show. So it has nothing to do with Pooh or Winnie the Pooh. It's not about you, Pooh. Or Pooh in general. It's not about Pooh at all. It's a podcast that is a D. It is a P-O-D right there. Podcast show. I know like the logo doesn't fit on the sign, so there's a dash and we had to go to the next line. Maybe that's why people think it's Pooh. But it is not Pooh. It is Pod, because this is a perfect podcast show. It is a visual podcast, video podcast, so maybe vidcast could have been a better name. Or video cast, or just video show, or just show. But I spent a lot of money on these signs, and I'm not going to get rid of them. And it costs even more to change the title that's already on the sign. So I'm not going to change the sign, okay? It is a perfect podcast show. If you want, you can just listen. You'll miss some visual things that might happen in the show. But that's okay, because it's a podcast. And hopefully perfect, because that's what I'm trying to do, is make the perfect podcast show. Okay, thanks for calling again. If you want to call in and give some tips for the perfect pod with a D podcast show, you can. 818-392-4623. I feel like I should have the phone number memorized, but I still have to read it every time. Maybe it's lack of sunlight is affecting my memory and my brain. But this is a real phone number. You will be connected to a voice message, and then you can leave a message. You don't have to talk to anyone, but please call in. Give tips, because I want the show to be perfect. Okay. All right. Well, now that I got that out of the way, there's the call. We have a couple guests today, and I'm excited. We have tried this since episode 1 of the Perfect Podcast Show to have this special guest. He has agreed to come on numerous times. There's been issues every time. But I'm feeling good about today because we had Winnie the Pooh call in, and these are sort of connected. So please welcome to the Perfect Podcast Show my very first guest that I ever had on the show, and my first guest on today's episode, the CEO of Walt Disney Studios. I believe I should know this by now. I believe it's just all of Disney. Please welcome Mr. Sir Bob Iger. Welcome to the show, Bob Iger. Bob, no, Bob, please, Bob. Please, Bob. We said this was the time. I said, hey, are you sure? Are you sure you can make it at this time? And you said, absolutely. You sure? You updated everything. The camera's working. We tested this. We literally tested this before the show, and it looked all good to go. I can see you're muted, Bob. So unmute yourself, say something, and turn your camera on. Both of those things have to happen because your camera is off and you're muted. Bob, are you there? Okay, I just got a text. Hold on. Okay, Bob, you're there. Okay, that's great. Just turn your camera on and unmute yourself, or unmute yourself. Say hello, or turn your camera on and wave hello. Please, Bob. Please. I've tried so many times. If you were on the show, I feel like it would be really perfect because you don't do a lot of podcasts. Bob, please. Hello, Bob. Please, Bob. Okay, I'm gonna have to move on. We're gonna try another time. Then, okay, yeah, I know you're here, but we can't see you. Bob. Texting me isn't helping. You need to be on the show. Okay, Bob, we're gonna have to move on. Bob, thank you. We'll try again another time. Thanks, Bob. Okay, just like really trying here. Just really trying. We're live on Instagram. Hey, to the people watching live on Instagram, if you got tips on Instagram as well, thanks. Brailsville, see you there. Jackie Merchant, hi. Thanks for watching the Perfect Podcast Show. This episode hopefully will be perfect. Luckily, we still have the show going, and that's thanks to our very generous ad support. And we have ads just like every podcast. Again, podcast, not poocast. So we have ads as well. And the ads, keep us going. There's ad revenue that comes in. The people who have me locked up in this room get that ad revenue. I don't see any of it, but I guess it helps for my daily feeding of mashed potatoes. And just like the box kind with the flakes, they're not fresh mashed potatoes at all. But I get some potatoes every day, and I guess the ads help with that. So to keep my potatoes coming, let's listen to one of those ads now. Hey there, listener. Do you like music? Well, if you do, but you don't want to pay for it, you can get our free, that's right, completely free collection of songs that don't offend any copyrights. With songs like that Billie Jean-ish song by Michael Jackson-ish. Or maybe you like 90s, like Smells Like Teen Spirits from Nirvana. All of these songs aren't copywritten. Nope, they're not copywritten, so you can use them as you wish. Royalty free, some might say. Completely free. We're giving them away for free. Maybe this song by The Beagles. Or maybe you're into the smooth guitar stylings of whatever his name is. Hey, look, you don't have to pay any band millions of dollars to use their music. Just use one of ours, like from Led Zeppelin. We even have the Beatles. And Queen. Even Elvis. It's all the songs you know and easily can recognize, but all for free. Use them as you wish. You know that band. Wow. Well, thanks to that ad, royalty-free music, which is a great segue into my next guest on the show and why I'm dressed like this. Today's second guest, who hopefully has his camera working and his mic working, is Marc Lee. Marc has worked in the entertainment business for a very long time, and he's actually collaborated through his work with legends of music, Bo Diddley, Isaac Hayes, Buddy Guy, Wilson Pickett, Keb Mo, and so many more. And as you may know about me, I am a big fan of blues music, so excited to talk to him about some of this. Currently, he serves as the program manager and producer for PODTV, also the Hayti Heritage Center, which we can talk about that, and is also the founder of Lee Entertainment, an event planning and consulting company. Please welcome to the Perfect Podcast Show, Marc Lee. Yay, your camera works. That's great. Can we hear you too?
Yeah, I think y'all can hear me. My camera works. Everything's working well. So I think that you can hear me. Things are going well. I do have to tease you, Keith, and everything, because, you know, Winnie gave you a call earlier and everything. And I just had a call recently as well. And the Peas in the Pod are upset with you because they said that they were looking for a podcast featuring them because they said, look, we are the Peas. There's a pod in us because there are peas in the pod. So they were kindly upset at you because they're like, they can't figure out this perfect podcast if they are not involved.
Okay, well, I'm glad that they're calling it a podcast and not a poo cast. That's great. So they're called the Peas in the Pod. Is that their name?
Peas in the Pod.
I will get in contact with them because I would love their support. For somebody to call it a podcast and not a poo cast, I'll have them. They can sponsor the show. I'll have them do all the music, whatever they need to do, because, you know, it's a podcast and that's what we're here doing, a podcast.
That's a podcast.
And Marc, you know all about producing and doing live events. You've worked with some real legends of blues music. And if you don't mind today, I have played blues harmonica for many, many years. I once appeared as playing Dan Aykroyd in an off-Broadway show about John Belushi's life. So part of this show today, I would love to learn stories about you. And I'm going to make up songs on the spot, blues songs, playing live blues harmonica on the air. As we learn about a little bit about the history of Marc Lee's experience through music and entertainment. How does that sound?
That sounds great and everything. I can tell you right now, and this might even give you a segue to that harmonica and everything. But when I was doing a blues show, and actually there was a guy on LinkedIn that used to always play this song when I would come into the room, because there is a song that's part of that pop blues, or what some people call Southern blues and everything. But it is by Nellie, Tiger, Travis and everything, and all along those lines. But she is a singer, and one of her famous songs is a song called Mr. Sexy Man. So folks would literally play that whenever I would come in the room and everything, because they'd be like, hey, look, that seems to fit. He's got the beard. He's got everything else going on. So they would play that particular song by that particular Southern blues artist. So if you want to do a harmonica rendition of Mr. Sexy Man, that could work, because that is a very popular song. And even on some other podcasts, including some LinkedIn lives and everything, they would literally go dig up that song and play it and everything as I entered the room or entered the room virtually.
That's great. So Mr. Sexy Man, and that's because of the beard, or there's other stuff going on? You said we can only see part of it. So
it's the beard and just my voice and maybe some of the persona and all along those lines. Because when I was doing a show on WNCU, which is one of our HBCU radio stations, and I did that for a number of years. I also had members of the Blues Patrol, which is what I called my fan club and everything along those lines. So the Blues Patrol would oftentimes be in the background, and if they called in, I'd be like, Lon McCormick is calling in from the Blues Patrol, and then he would request whatever song he wanted and everything along those lines. I do have a little secret. I do have a little secret for you, Keith.
Okay, yeah.
That I learned that folks have to remember, including for the Perfect Podcast, is, and I did not do a good job of this. I know you've got your producer, Jacalyn, in the background and all along those lines, but sometimes we as DJs and we as announcers can let our feelings get too much out into the open. So one of the things that I was notorious for is I because I heard you might be doing a bachelor show or something along those lines, and I'm still in my 60s and in that single space, but I have dated different women, and sometimes I would let my emotions go into whatever I was playing and everything. So if I was upset at the woman, they might get some of those "I can't stand you," that B word, and we won't use that B word and everything kind of songs, and all along those lines. And then if I was happy with them, or if I was erotic with them, they might get some very erotic songs. So folks would sometimes be like, we can tell how you are feeling based on what music you're playing. So I did have to learn to kind of hide my emotions and maybe play like some happy songs when I was mad and some mad songs when I was happy. But there was a time early in my career when I would play music that would let people know how I was feeling about that particular lady that I was courting.
Oh, right. Well, that's a good tip. I mean, you saw maybe I was a little frustrated at the beginning of the show, so I am showing my emotions. But I pulled up the lyrics for "Sexy Man" by Nelly Tiger Travis, and I think this is a good time to do our first song right here. I can it won't be an improvised song because it's an existing song, but I'll do a little harmonica rendition now. This is "Sexy Man." It's actually Mr. Sexy Man, the album by Nelly Tiger Travis. Here we go.
Yes.
I saw when you stepped in the club, the way you walk, the way your body moves. And then we're going to jump to the chorus. Hey, Mr. Sexy Man, what your name is, what your name is. Harmonica solo.
Yes.
How's that harmonica sound?
That was working, only we weren't hearing that harmonica that well. It was kind of like air harmonica. I'm going like, I don't hear the harmonica.
You couldn't hear the harmonica?
No, I couldn't hear the harmonica.
How about, wait, can you hear now?
Try it again.
You can't hear it?
Still don't hear it. I hear you.
Hold on. You can hear me. You can hear me okay?
I hear you loud and clear.
Okay, here we go.
That I heard.
You heard this?
I heard. No, stop it again. I heard it a minute ago, but now I don't hear it. I heard it for a hot
maybe it's this thing is covering it, maybe? Hold on.
Could be.
Let's try it. Just this okay. You can hear this?
I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. That's good.
That's very good.
Okay. So here you go. I got this right here. It's a blues band key of C harmonica. There we go.
Still don't hear it.
There's no. Okay.
No.
Maybe it's like the key. The microphone blocks it. I have this one right here. This is a blues harmonica, key of D. Key of D. Maybe the C is. Hold on.
No.
Nothing. If I can get closer.
Closer? No, still nothing.
Farther?
Further? I heard one note one time.
You heard one note one time. Right
One
then?
note.
Just now?
No, this was a while back.
If I'm back here?
No, a while back I heard it. It's
Okay,
very frustrating.
that's weird. I'll get a different harmonica. I don't know why it's not. You can hear this?
I hear that loud and clear. I can even hear when you do the drumming thing.
That's so weird. It might be the key. I'll get a different key. But we got to talk about. So I mean, I'm a big fan of blues music, and you've worked with some legends. I finally got to see Buddy Guy. He was on my list. I saw him a few months ago. I think he's in his 90s, maybe, or late 80s, and he was
late
still
80s. He's definitely
still
in late
killing
80s. And the one thing I would say about Buddy Guy, for any of your listeners that have not heard Buddy Guy, I am convinced there are a couple of people like my dad, who was also in the music business. That's how I kind of got into it, both dad and mom, because they started a community radio station when I was a preteen and everything. But maybe less so dad, because dad is going through some health issues. We were talking about health issues earlier offline and everything. But I am convinced to this day that Buddy Guy has found the fountain of youth. I want to know where he found the fountain of youth. I want him to market the fountain of youth, and I want him to send me a copy of the fountain of youth, because that man is still going out into the stands, literally at the shows, and seems to have more energy than, I don't have any kids of my own, but I've got two nephews that are 15 and 16 starting next month in August and everything. And he's got more energy than Langston and Julius, which are my two nephews and everything. So I'm convinced he's found the fountain of youth.
He really does. And then, like, he's standing on stage holding a guitar. Guitars are heavy, and he's standing on stage doing long shows. I think that's a good inspiration for next song. I grabbed a different key. We have a key of B for blues or for Buddy Guy. So let's do a little thing. So Buddy's got that energy, yeah. He can stand on stage all night long. but he's got that energy, yeah. He can stand on stage all night long. He plays that guitar, and let me tell you, he plays a sweet, sweet song. Yeah, you got nephews, and they seem lazy too. Yeah, you got some nephews, and they seem lazy too. They can't stand like Buddy, because you know only Buddy can do what that guy can do.
Still not hearing you.
Wait, you can't hear this?
I don't hear a bit of it. I'm hearing you great singing. Your singing is amazing.
I'm doing this. Okay. Like, let me do. You hear that?
I did not hear that.
Okay, I'm gonna do the lowest one.
Do the lowest one. Keith is frustrated and it's not working.
Oh my god, I'm like sweating over here trying to. This is the B. Okay, I got this is the same color. An A.
We're trying the A.
I'm like lightheaded over here. Okay, I'll do a. Oh man, I'm lightheaded. Try okay.
No. Okay, it's
but,
frustrating.
Buddy God plays the guitar and he plays it well. Buddy God plays the guitar and he plays it well. And if he did a little bit, then that
maybe that's the problem.
What?
Maybe that's the problem. Maybe we got to get a Buddy Guy guitar because we're not hearing anything of the harmonica. So the next time I come on the show, we're gonna have a guitar because we're not hearing a lick of the.
I can only play. I mean, I can only play harmonica. I'm really good too. I'm really good at harmonica. Like when I was in the I'm lightheaded over here. When I was in the show playing Dan Aykroyd, someone in the band who played with in the band was Guitar Shorty. Mm-hmm. Another legend and Guitar Shorty, rest in peace. He didn't say this, but someone else said my harmonica playing was even better than Dan Aykroyd. And the band played with the Blues Brothers before, so that's why I'm frustrated because I didn't do F yet. I can do F.
Let's try it.
So let's try. Okay, so we need a new story because I feel like maybe the Buddy Guy one isn't working. So I'd love to hear, Bo Diddley is a legend, or you can talk about. Your producer on PODTV or Hayti Heritage Center. I want to hear about that. That sounds interesting.
Oh, Hayti Heritage Center is a fascinating place. I'm actually one of the historians there. We have all kinds of historical moments and we have all kinds of things, including poets that perform there. And we've even had some jazz legends, something with blues ties, because Branford Marsalis recorded, I think, the 3 or 4 of his last albums at the center because he brought in the whole recording kind of background and the recording equipment and recorded at the center because the center is actually a converted AME church that after it was part of the Black Wall Street era in Durham, North Carolina, and it eventually moved to another location several miles down the road in Durham, North Carolina. But it is a cultural center and has some of the best acoustics in the country in my mind. So definitely it's got some great acoustics. So folks have recorded there, including Megaphon, which is a indie rock group, and Birds of Avalon, which is another indie rock group as well. So we've got poetry, we've got dance, we've got all kinds of things at this African American Cultural Arts Center that is at a converted African American church. It was part of the AME family, and it was in the Black Wall Street area. So like I said, I'm one of the historians there, and one of the things we talk about that is fascinating is there are all these great stained glasses, and sometimes people when they come there, because it was an African American center, they look up and they're like, why is that white guy there? And it's not Jesus, and it's not one of the angels. But Mr. Duke decided to give some money, and he had you'll love this, Keith, because you're into the entertainment game. He had a moment of vanity. So there are, as best I can recall without being in the building right now, there are 2 stained glass pictures of Jesus Christ. One that is near where the pipe organ would have been, but we removed the pipe organ almost a decade or so ago and everything. And one that's on like the side window and everything. But on the 2 top ones up in the balcony, there's one of the angels. And across from that is Mr. Duke, who is one of the founders of Duke University. So yeah, he was having one of those moments of vanity. He's like, yeah, I'll give y'all some money. Y'all just got to give me a bigger stained glass.
Wow. He loves stained glass. He loves naming colleges after him. He basically just wants to take over North Carolina is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, he wants to take over North Carolina, particularly take over Durham. So he just wanted to take over everything and any place he could get half his face. He might have been you said you've been out of the news lately, but he might have been a older version in terms of vanity of the current person that was president and is running for president again. So he might have been an older version of Mr. Trump and everything. So like I said, that might have been, Trump might be Mr. Duke 3.0. So he might be Mr. Duke 3.0.
This is good. All right. So, okay. I got a different harmonica. This is key F. This is key F. We haven't done F yet. That's some good stuff. We got Duke. We got Jesus Christ on one side. We got Mr. Duke on another. We got poetry. We got jazz in this old church. That sounds, I got to go there and visit this place. So here we go. Oh, yeah, he's Mr. Duke. Look at him go. Oh, yeah, he's Mr. Duke. Look at him go. You got legends on stage, but you know Mr. Duke is the main show. He's got that stained glass window up on the wall. He's got that stained glass window up on the wall. Jesus might be 6 feet, but Mr. Duke, he's 7 feet tall. Harmonica solo.
Still no music. Good body language, but still no music. Keith, I figured out the problem.
Well, you can't hear it still?
You still can't hear it, but I figured out the problem, and it's based on one of the other legends. I figured out the problem, Keith. I figured it out. One of the legends that you mentioned that I had the pleasure of performing with, and he actually came out in chains, much similar to the chains that he used to wear when he was on a very popular TV show. The reason that we can't hear you is because you don't have the Isaac Hayes chains on. That's what it is, because I do remember seeing Isaac Hayes and meeting him in person, and he had the chains on and all along those lines. And I think it's because you don't have the chains on is why we can't hear you, because we got to have those Isaac Hayes chains in order to be heard. So I think that's the secret.
I mean, if this show isn't going to be perfect, I'm going to be chained up on this wall right over here that you can't see on camera. So I'm going to have chains after the show because this show is not going perfect. But let me try. I got a key of G for Isaac Hayes, who's the real OG. You know, he's the OG of R&B, OG of soul, OG. He's the real. So we're gonna do a little key of G, Isaac Hayes.
Okay.
I'll do okay. Okay. You can hear this okay?
I heard that perfectly clear.
Okay, here we go. Key of G, Isaac Hayes. Oh, Isaac. Oh, Isaac. He's Isaac, and I am feeling lightheaded and kind of sick. Big harmonica solo.
Still not hearing anything. Maybe, maybe that's what your business is. Well, since you don't have to change, but you did say you might get chained up after the show because you're trying to get the perfect show. Do you have any access to a throne? Because one of the other artists that I worked with used to be Solomon, and Solomon was a well-known blues artist, Solomon Burke and everything.
Solomon Burke, that's a legend, Mark. They're coming for me. Yeah. I gotta say thanks for being on the show, but no, they're coming for me, Mark. I'm not ready to be chained.
We're chained up again. That's not fair. I wonder if they're gonna chain him up, if he's gonna be able to say bye to me, but they've got him chained up again. Oh man, this is not good. I don't think this was a perfect show. I think the pod people are going